Hello everybody, Modoc here with another PoxNora tutorial. In this tutorial I will be covering how to download the game client and take you through a tour of the client. In order to download the client, you will need to go to PoxNora.com and log in with your Sony station name, which I've already done. From here, simply click Play Now. As you can see, there are two ways to play the game. You can either launch the game from the web, or you can download the standalone client for your desktop. I highly recommend downloading the client as it is much more stable than the web launch, and you can play the game without having to come to the website every time. Simply click the download button, run the setup file once it is downloaded, and follow the on-screen prompts to install the game client. Once you have the client installed, you can start playing PoxNora. Since I already have it installed, I'm just going to go ahead and launch it. Alright, the first screen you'll see is the login screen. All you have to do is simply click Login, enter your station name and password. You can click it to remember you on the computer so you don't have to do this every time you launch the game, and then just hit Login. This will take you to this screen. From here you simply just click Play, and it'll launch the game. Usually takes a minute. Alright, so the first screen you'll see is what's called the launch pad. Now as you see, the client has a bunch of tabs up here, and next to each tab is a number. That just denotes the number of people online that are currently in that tab. The client always defaults to the Launchpad tab when it is first started. This is the main tab for the client and basically shows you your basic stats as a player, news regarding the game, and a few other cool things. So let's go over what all this stuff means. The first thing you'll see is the username you set on the website. Right below that, it will tell you what faction you belong to and how many points you have earned for that faction. This will remain as neutral until you start playing ranked games, and I will explain how this works when we cover the Rank tab. The next section simply details your stats as a player. It has your number of solo and team wins, your ranking, your level, your experience, and what guild you've joined if you have. The next section tracks how much gold you have. Every time you play a game, you earn gold that can be used to purchase various things on the website. The next entry shows if you have any gold bonus active. You can purchase gold bonus tickets from the marketplace if you desire, but in my opinion, it's not really worth the money. Just not really enough bang for your buck unless you are playing constantly while your tokens are active. This button will also let you apply gold bonuses if you have purchased any tokens. In order to activate a token, you just click on the button and select what token you want to activate. And these numbers here will show you if you have any or how many you have. The next section is just your recent achievements. It will just show you any achievements you've completed, the number of players online, and your options screen. Let's click the options screen and see what we can do in here. Your first option is to run the game either windowed or full screen. I usually run full screen simply because it gives me a better view of the map, and I'll show you that when we play our first game. The next section is game options. I usually leave these pretty much how they are. The only thing that you could change if you wanted to is your hotkeys. When you click set keys, it'll just show you what all the hotkeys are and what they do. And I'll go over a couple of the more important ones when we get into actually playing a game. But if you want to change these, you can change those if you'd like. And then the last options you have are the music and sound effects. I usually mute the music and I turn the sound effects way down because I have found that when they're at full volume, it tends to be really loud in the client. I'm not sure why that is, but it is. So I usually turn the effects down to a reasonable level, and I usually mute the music, usually because I'm listening to my own music when I play. Anytime you change anything, you just hit OK to exit and it'll apply the changes. The other side of the client is mainly news and announcements about the game. The first time you launch the game, all of these announcements will be open. But once you minimize them by hitting the little minus sign, the next time you launch the client, those will stay minimized. The only two I usually keep open are the Daily Skirmish and the Drums of War, and that's usually because these are the things you want to look at every time you play. So let me minimize the rest of these, and then I'll explain these. Alright, the Daily Skirmish is basically just 2 single-player campaign games that they put up every day. And you get bonus gold for completing these. You can use any battle group that you own. Right now we only have Pandemonium, so that's the only one we can use. These are usually the first thing you want to do every time you open the game. They're usually very easy to complete, they don't take a whole lot of time, and you get 600 gold for doing both of them. So, that's usually a good idea. That's usually the first thing I do every time I play the game. The next thing is the Drums of War. This shows how the battle between factions is going in ranked play. Every time you play a ranked game, you'll get a number of points towards whatever faction you used. And then as these bars fill up, you get another notch on here. At the end of the war, the winning side and the top contributors from each faction get bonus gold. So that's pretty cool. It's just kind of an incentive to play ranked. The last thing on this page is the chat box, and you can open this either a little or a lot, and you can chat with other people in the lobby. Alright, the next tab is the single player tab. This is probably where you spend most of your time the first few days. On the left side, you'll see a Play Campaigns button, an Observe Games button, the number of players online, and this is the lobby for this particular tab. This simply shows who is not engaged in, the players that are not engaged in games. As you can see, if you hover over their rank insignia, it will tell you their name, what guild they're in, their solo and team rankings, and their level. And you'll kind of get used to looking at these and being able to kind of tell where somebody is just looking at their icon. And you always have the options button. You can change the options in any tab. Alright, the right side of the screen shows all the campaigns that are available to play. Now you notice that some of them are grayed out and some of them aren't. Some of them are grayed out with a little lock and some of them aren't. The ones that are grayed out with a little lock are the ones you need to purchase in order to play. Now, I wouldn't bother spending money on most of these campaigns simply because most of them are out of date, even these quote-unquote new campaigns. They're out of date, and a lot of them are even so out of date they're broken. And some can be kind of impossible to complete. So, and the AI is just really easy to beat as well, and you'll see that when we play our first game. Alright, so the first section here is your walkthrough campaigns. These essentially work as tutorials for the game and gives you an introduction to each faction. Now it says earn a free starter battle group by completing these campaigns. Free is, I kind of like to put that in quotes because yes, while you gain access to a battle group from that faction once you complete it, you can't modify it. You can't level the runes, you can't change out the runes. In order to do that, you actually have to purchase them. So yes, while you get access to them for free, you can't really do much with them other than use them. So that's why I like to put free in quotes. But it's still a very good idea to do these campaigns, to do these walkthroughs, as it'll give you kind of a basic flavor of each faction and what some of their runes are. The next section is the new campaigns. These are essentially just the most recent ones they've released. And I don't think they've released any new campaigns in a very long time. So these three have been new for a long, long time. The next section is your beginner campaigns. It's a very good idea to complete all of these. Again, it'll just give you a basic idea of the maps in the game. It'll give you a basic idea of each faction, And in these, you can use any battle group you wish. You don't have to use, like the walkthrough campaigns will give you a battle group to use. The beginner campaigns, you can use any battle group you own. And then the last one is the advanced campaigns. Now, these are really cool if you want to get some of the history of the world that PoxNora takes place in. They give you some really cool flavor. And it'll also give you, again, a better idea of how the game plays and stuff like that. Plus, you get gold anytime you complete a campaign. So, there's that, too. Most of the advanced campaigns I only went through once. I didn't play them again once I completed them, just because they're not really. Some of them take a little too long to be worth playing. The beginner campaigns, again, I highly recommend you do all these. And then when you're mining gold, which we'll cover in another tutorial, you'll be playing the beginner protectorate battles a lot. All right, so that's that tab. And again, you have your chat lobby, which you can open and chat with the people in the room. Alright, our next tab is the Training Grounds tab. This tab is essentially for casual play versus real people. You can set up either quick match games, you can create games, or you can join group, which is 2 versus 2 games. Again, you have your lobby with all the people that aren't involved in games. In order to play in this one, you can do one of two ways. You can either quick match it, or you can create a game. When you do quick match, it simply matches you up with another opponent who's in the quick match lobby. And once you click on this, you'll basically choose your battle group, you'll choose your team size, and hit quick match, and it'll match you up with somebody. The other way you can play games is by creating a game. And in here you can kind of modify how you want the game to start. When you play quick match, it's going to default to these settings right here. And any ranked games are these settings right here. So I highly recommend when you're playing games in Training Grounds, if you plan on playing ranked play eventually, get used to using these settings, as that's what defaults in ranked play and quick matches. You can even change what map you want, but again, the map really doesn't matter too much. Unless there's a map you really like to play on, then you can do that. Once you got all these set, you just hit create game, choose your battle group, and wait for somebody to join. I don't play group play, so I'm not 100% sure how to set up a group. Once you hit it says you're not in a group, you have to form a group, which I believe if you hit the little plus sign here, you can join a group, and then you can quick match. That's the only way to play group 2 versus 2 is getting into the queue. Okay? Alright. In order to join a game, and there isn't anybody waiting. There we go. Okay, so if you wanted to join that game, you saw the little join button over here. If there's somebody waiting, they'll only have one person in the player name, and then there'll be a join button. Once you hit the join button, again, it'll be just like in this screen, where you can choose your battle group and click ready, and then the game will start. If you want to observe games, you just simply click on the eye, hit observe game, and it'll actually take you into the game that's being played by other people, and you can watch games, see what they're playing, see what they're using. It's a very good idea starting off to kind of watch games when you're not playing, because you can kind of have time to look at the runes, look at their abilities, and see how other people play. In order to leave the game, you just hit options and leave and hit OK, and it'll take you back to the lobby. That's the Training Grounds. And in Training Grounds, you can play any kind of battle group you want, from full faction to split faction to what's called a circus. And I'll cover the difference between those later in another tutorial. But suffice to say, Training Grounds, you can pretty much play any kind of game, any kind of battle group that you want. Alright, our next tab is Ranked Play. And the only option to play Ranked is Play Ranked. Once you hit that, again, you choose your battle group, and then hit Play Ranked, and it'll match you up with somebody. Now, the way the rank matching works is it'll try to match you up with someone of a similar rank to you. The longer you're in the queue, though, the wider the search parameters get. So, if any of these people are waiting to play games, it'll match me up with some of these people because they're unranked just like me. But the longer it takes to find a match, I might get matched with some of these guys that are already ranked. So that's how the ranked play works. And again, when you play ranked games, every time you play a ranked game, you'll get a certain number of points depending on your performance. And that'll help you, that'll rank you. And it'll add to your Drums of War points. And I believe you have to play, if you're unranked, I believe you have to play at least 4 or 5 ranked games before you get a rank. And so let's say I play, and your rank won't show up till the next day. So let's say I played 10 ranked matches today. I won't get a rank until the next day. And then you can look at your rank. And again, you can observe games. It'll show you what the player, who's in the room, the map they're playing on, and how long the game's been going on. And again, you can observe games just like you can in Training Grounds. You can even observe campaigns, single-player games. So that's, again, just like that. It'll pop up in the middle of the game. Okay, and the game ended. All right, return to lobby. So that's the rank tab. The next one is tournament play, and this is where you'll go to join and play in tournaments. Now, there are basically 2 tournament types in PoxNora. There's standard tourneys and draft tourneys. Standard tourneys, you can use any battle group you own, and you just join the tourney. And once 8 players join the tourney starts. So you're there, you can open up, you can see you're 1 of 8. And there are special tourney nights that are listed on the website too. And you can leave the tourney. And then, so that's standard tourneys, you can use any BG you own. Draft tourneys are just draft tourneys. You get to choose cards from 3 different packs, you pass them around, and you build a battle group that way. And then usually they either cost 1 ticket or 9 tickets. The 1 ticket drafts, you don't get to keep the cards that you draft. You do get gold and rewards for winning and participating. And then your 9 ticket drafts, if you play in a 9 ticket draft, you actually get to keep all the cards that you draft. So that's what tourneys are. And then you can also observe any tourney games going on as well. Okay? Alright, and then the last tab is the Bazaar. And this is where you can go to discuss trades, discuss really kind of anything. Not many people actually use this lobby. Really not sure why there are 20 people in here now. I think that's the most people I've ever seen in the Bazaar. But that's what the Bazaar is for. It's basically to discuss trades. As you can see, people are putting up what they want, what they have, that kind of thing. So that's it for this tutorial. This is just part 1. Hopefully this gives you a better idea of how to navigate the client and start playing. Join me for part 2, where I'll show you how to play your first game and give you some basic strategy tips along the way. Thanks, everybody.